Off-duty ICE agent kills California father celebrating on New Year's Eve. This is by Hong Jian. And so Keith Porter Jr., he was 43 years of age and a father of two, was shot and killed on New Year's Eve by an as yet unidentified off-duty immigration and customs enforcement officer in Northridge, a suburb of LA County, or LA, California. He was the 13th victim of an ICE-involved shooting since the fascist Trump returned to power and began to make good on his promise to carry out the largest deportation operation in the U.S. history by deporting up to 20 million people. So this is a picture of Keith Porter Jr. right here. So according to Porter's mother, Franciola Armstrong, from day one that he was born, I knew that he was my joy, she said. And when he came around, people looked for him. He was a joy to be around, my son, the biggest heart, sympathetic, appreciative, and so much gratitude. She also said that he was hardworking, caring, and uplifting to those he was around. A friend of the family, Bishop Jack Wilson, said, "He was full of life and always smiling. It hurts me that he didn't take his last breath, but his last breath was taken from him." Porter's cousin, Jessane Tyler, condemned the goon from the ICE Gestapo, saying, "If I could say anything to the ICE agent, it's that you're a murderer. You stole my cousin from me. You stole their father from them." She continued, "You stole a black man off the planet that God ordained to live and thrive. You stole a human life and you need to pay for it." The Department of Homeland Security claims in much the same way as they did in October that the officer was responding to an active shooter situation. So they stated that after the ICE agent identified himself as an ICE agent, that Porter then aimed his rifle at the agent, and that the agent then requested Porter to lay down his weapon. So Department of Homeland Security, DHS, then says that Porter did not put down the weapon and the ICE officer shot him. So DHS also claims that though Porter shot his rifle 3 times at close range while aiming at the agent, that the officer was not injured in this shooting. So the shooting is now under investigation by LA Police Department, Robbery Homicide Division. However, it has also been widely reported that the FBI and the U.S. Department of Justice, DOJ, Homeland Security investigations are also handling the case because the federal agent was involved. Given that the agent was off duty, this explanation for involvement of federal officials in the investigation of the killing of Porter reeks of a cover-up. So, tens of thousands that protest ICE raids and the Trump administration in LA. So this right here is LA right here pictured, and you can see the people who are protesting against the ICE raids that happen here. So there's no reason to believe anything coming from the DHS. It was only a few months ago that ICE agents shot another man in LA, claiming it was a response of an active shooter. So the brazen lawlessness under which ICE agents operate is in every case defended by DHS and the fantastic Trump administration as legitimate responses to threats of bodily harm to the agents themselves. Yet in every case that has been investigated, it has been shown to be a lie. So the 14th victim of ICE's reign of terror across the U.S. took place on Wednesday when an ICE officer shot and killed Renee Nicole Good, a U.S. citizen and a mother of 3 kids. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem and other Republicans have claimed, in contradiction to the video evidence, that Good had weaponized her vehicle. So this also is the reason given in virtually all of the other shootings carried out by ICE officers in the last year. In the previous active shooter situation, LA TikToker Richard LA, the victim, was shown in the days immediately following the shooting not to have had a gun. That was when the claim of the vehicular weaponization was run up the flagpole. So, in response to the shooting of Porter, eyewitnesses have reported that he was outside celebrating the New Year's Eve holiday by firing his weapon in the air, and that when the agent confronted Porter, he did not identify himself. Given that the agent was the only one on the scene and Porter and his friends, one is left with the assumption that the entirety of the DHS statement is taken from this off-duty officer who was responsible for ending the life of Keith Porter Jr. So on Sunday, about 50 people took part in a candlelight vigil to honor Porter. The vigil was organized by Black Lives Matter, BLM, of which Porter was a member as well. So BLM said that the vigil was called not only to honor Porter, but to also the issues a call for the independent investigations into his death. So Melina Abdullah, co-director of BLM Grassroots, said, "We want to recognize that one of the worst imaginable injustices has been committed, and there will be time for us to protest. This is a time of grief, and we are not going to be quiet or silent." So protests and appeals to the reason directed either to the fascists in power or the Democratic Party colleagues from across the aisle will not bring justice for Keith Porter Jr. The other victims of ICE shootings, or the thousands and hundreds of thousands who are terrorized by the actions of ICE Gestapo daily. So the vilification and terrorizing of immigrants and the poorest of the people is a bipartisan policy that has been continued without interruption under one administration after another. So what is needed is for immigrant workers and youth to organize with other workers into the rank and file committees that are independent of both capitalist parties and the unions. These committees should be democratically organized, and the starting point for preparations for a general strike against the ICE Gestapo fascism, dictatorship, and war. So that's pretty much the article right there. And this is LA County, or LA City, right here. This was June 14, 2025 when this happened. Tens of thousands of protests of the ICE raids and the over the Trump administration ICE raids. And this is the guy who was fatally killed in a photo here. And some people are asking, where's the outcry for this man right here and his death as well, and anybody else in between? And I don't think nobody's safe. That's the way I'm looking at it. And there should be more justice for this man as well. I mean, I'm not saying that what he did was probably a safe thing to have the gun, but there has been a history in the city of Los Angeles, people firing firecrackers or shooting guns in the air, and it is kind of risky, but there could have been another way that this situation could have been handled where this man hadn't lost his life. So it sounds like there might be a cover-up is what they're saying with the whole story, and that there are more questions that need to be answered and more investigating on the incident. So that's pretty much this story about Keith Porter, who was gunned down by ICE agents as well.